and welcome to Blues Focus TV. I'm your host Josh, and I'm here previewing the game with Watford on the 14th of the 3rd, 2023. Blues come into this game off the back of a win against Rotherham on the previous Saturday. It was a game of two halves, that game was. First half, Blues looked very comfortable. They looked in charge. The second half, they were very much defensive and tried to hold out for the win, which they did, which will probably give Blues fans some confidence, but I don't think it changes the feeling around the team at the moment. We are still under a bad run of results, and I think that even though it's a win, it's 4 points from the last two games, which I think Blues fans would have happily snapped your hand off beforehand. But I think the manner in the way the Rotherham game finished won't give fans much confidence going into the Watford game. As we all know, this Watford team that we're playing against has changed their manager for the third time this season. They've got Chris Wilder coming in now. And there is Prem quality in that team. The game that we played against them at the start of the season at St Andrews, 1-1. Hall scored for Blues. We played very well in that game. We rose to the occasion. We weren't worried by the stature of Premiership players coming to our ground, and if we can have the same mentality as that, then I think we'll be okay. It won't be a battering. Watford's form hasn't been very good. They lost to QPR at the weekend, a 1-0 loss. And after speaking with the Watford fan last week, he also kind of believed that it could go either way. They could turn up and they could roll us over, or they could get rolled over. It is what it is. They're a club that's very similar to Blues in the sense of their ownership don't mess about. If they feel like a change needs to be had, they will do it. A little bit of a basket case from the outside looking in, but I was quite impressed with the way Pete was able to, break it down. So after speaking with the Watford fan, it kind of gave me a little bit more confidence. He highlighted that Ismail Assar's had a number of managers that he's had over his time, so to get a rhythm of play from some of their better players could have actually been a cause for concern. It's probably the reason why they are in 11th at the moment. Their constant chopping and changing could aid Blues a little bit because they haven't got the wilder feel so far. They're kind of a 10-week manager club where a manager gets his feet under the table and then they're out the door again. So hopefully Blues can capitalise on that. The form for the last 5 games of Blues is starting to improve, but I wouldn't say that we are in any way, shape or form in good form at the moment. So I think the fans want to get the game over and done with. We want this out of the way. If we get anything from the game, it's a positive, and then move on to the QPR game, which we probably feel we can win that, and we can win that comfortably. And then I would like to believe if we were lucky enough to get a point today and beat QPR, we can pretty much write off relegation, which for Blues, doing it at this time of the year in March to write off relegation is a massive, massive improvement from what I expected at the start of the season. Before the World Cup, I expected a lot better season. I believe that John had galvanised that squad and we were hard to break down. We were the form team and it fell off a cliff. But when you look at the squad and you look at the bigger picture, you can understand why. And I haven't liked the way John's gone around the last 2 games. I feel like he could have been more accommodating to our skill and not be respecting of the opposition too much. But at the end of the day, it's a results business. He's got a draw and he's got a win to stop the rot. We had 5 losses before that. So from a fan's point of view, when you've got no jeopardy of your livelihood on the line, I can understand the reasons why he's chosen to go that way. And I think a little bit of an experience has probably pushed him that way as well. But if we take the last game, for example, with the midfield 3 that we had, due to Bielik's injury, which we'll get onto later on, we had a very, very young midfield. We had Alfie Chang, Jordan James, and George Hall. That lacks any sort of experience whatsoever. But when fans call for throw the kids in, we were able to see that. And we were able to see when John asked them to clearly keep it tight in the second half, there was a little bit of waywardness. There's a little bit of panic. There was lumping the ball as quick as they could. That it was like a hot potato. In the first half, that wasn't the case. That Bielik, I think he come off about 20-ish minutes with I think one or two teeth kicked out of his face. So at the time, I generally believe a yellow card was the right decision, but after seeing it later on, maybe it wasn't. But that is what it is. The referee has a hard decision there because at the first glance, I just thought, oh, yellow card. He's put his head where the player's foot is. Then when you see a teeth come flying out, it changes the optics a little bit. But yeah, you can't knock that midfield three. My worry with that is the manager put more pressure on them three lads by telling the team clearly in the second half to shut up shop, to keep it tight, to not really try and push forward and nick another goal. But I believe that game was the game to really go at Rotherham and try and entertain a little bit. And I'm seeing it from a fan's point of view. I'm not seeing it as a manager point of view. I'm not seeing it as a results business. I'm seeing I've paid my season ticket. I want to be entertained. I want to see my club batter someone basically because we don't do it very often, and there's only a select few teams in this league that Blues have the quality to go out and batter, and that was the perfect time. And for whatever reason, John decided he wanted to keep it tight. At the end of the season, am I going to be bothered by that? No, it's results business. So as much as I get it, I think we have to, as fans, accept that the style of play at the moment is going to be what we want to see going forward, but it's a results business. So I can kind of surmise of why he's chosen to do what he's done. Injuries, I think Bielik won't be anywhere near. I've not really looked too into it because we have a long injury list, and I don't think anyone we expect to come back is coming back. I think Troy will be still off, which is a shame. I think Troy would have obviously liked to have played against Watford. He is a Watford legend. There's no getting away from that. So my general thoughts on the game is, if Blues can keep it tight and Blues can be in the game 30 minutes in, we've done well. We have to give these respect, as much respect as you've given to Rotherham and Wigan, but we also need to have that little bit of edge where, we've won a game, we've drawn a game. Let's get the mentality of losing. Let's try and dictate a little bit, try and take a game to someone, because when we do look, entertaining. We look worrying to teams. There was times in the Rotherham game where it clicked, and with the energy of the young players, we can't stop that. You need to allow that to grow naturally. So my score prediction for this game, my head says 2-1 loss. I never like to predict a loss for Blues. My heart is going 1-0 win. I would love to see us nick it 1-0. Stink out the place a little bit for periods in the game, but then show a little bit of quality. Try and take the game to them. They're obviously under a new manager with a new style. It's probably not going to be implemented for a couple of weeks. They've got an eye on, I think they're playing Wigan on Saturday, so they might see us as a win game, but probably the next game is actually more of a winnable game because they're playing bottom of the league. So you never know. They might take the eye off the ball. They've had a loss on the previous game against QPR. Never say never. Never say never. We could, if we have a performance like the Baggies home and away, we'll beat this team. 100%. We will beat them because they won't be ready. They won't be settled. They'll have a new manager. They'll probably not be hearing his call straight away. It might be a little bit of a bedding in time. There's no real manager bounce so far because they've already lost. So if Blues have confidence and that youthful energy, we could see an upset here. Do I expect an upset? No. I will take a draw all day long. But you never know. You never know. I hope that if Duke is used today, I hope that he's used sparingly. I felt like after the Rotherham game, he looked dead on his feet, and he's a legend for the club. He really is. But at some point, the legend needs to be allowed to recover, and I think that double game weeks could start to catch up on him really. And my worry is if we do play the same system we started with against Rotherham, I don't think there's anybody else that can play that lone striker role with the injuries and the suspensions that we have. So fingers crossed Duke doesn't kill himself any more than he normally does for the club, because it's quite sad to see. If he kills himself but he's enjoying it, then brilliant. But as a fan, I would like to see him just have a little rest and keep him ticking over, because if we lose him injury-wise, I worry about how our attack line looks because Hogan's form has fell off a cliff. His confidence is bare bones. So yeah, my score prediction, I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna go 1-1 and hope we can be tight, be organised, flurries of attacks in spots. We have to accept that Watford are going to come at us because they are a better team on paper, but we didn't show them too much respect at St Andrews, and we shouldn't do the same again at Watford's ground. So fingers crossed, Blues can keep this momentum, this little bit of momentum that we've got. The positivity can try and grow a bit more. We won't call for the manager's head, and we can just start forgetting about relegation. I think we've turned a little corner from our bad run, and let's hope we can just get to the end of the season now in a fairly mundane standard approach. Let's have no more headaches. Let's have no more worries of the big R word, and let's go back and enjoy games and just not have to look over our shoulder. That's what I would like. And if we could have the end of the season where we're not in any sort of battle for anything, imagine that. Blues are in no battle for anything at the end of the season. The phrase is, they're on the beach. I'd love that because it means we've got no worries. We can just then start planning for next season and then hopefully be even further away from this rubbish that we always get at the start of every year where Blues are looking over their shoulder at the trapdoor. So yeah, fingers crossed. Let's try and get some positivity, Blues fans. Let's try and enjoy a game and not worry. That's what I'm hoping for. Thank you so much for listening. I have been Josh. This is Blues Focus TV. Please make sure you check out all our socials, as you can see underneath. And yeah, keep right on.